I'd like to address your issues with content and content strategy for your website today. The problem you probably have is you feel you have too much information, and as a large enterprise, especially as a public university, you have vast amounts of information that you present on your website, and most of that is geared towards one audience or another audience. So you're facing the dual problems of copious amounts of information as well as different audiences who are all looking for different things. So how do you solve this problem? It may sound like an obvious solution, but organization. The architecture of your information and the organization of your site content is the single most important thing you can do to make your site usable and to truly present the best face of the university to your prospective students. How do you do this? There's really a three-step process for roping in and managing your content. Step one is a content inventory, where you look at everything that you've got. Number two, you develop a strategy of how you want to use that content. And three, you have your ongoing management. So step one, know what you've got. Do a content inventory. What you do with a content inventory, and this appeals to the data geeks in us all, is you look at all of your content. You scope it out, you list it out, and you figure out where these things go. What is the logical bucket of information that a piece of content goes? Who's the audience? How's it organized? How should it be organized? In doing this, can be a tedious process, but in doing so, you learn a lot about what content you have, how you want to present it, who you needed to present it to, and even more importantly, what gaps in content do you have? Because in many cases, there are things that you really need to present to your audiences that you just may not realize you're not presenting or not presenting in the most optimal way. So step two, that's where the strategy comes in. You think about it. You figure out what you have in your inventory, what content you have. You figure out what you need. You figure out what needs to be rewritten, what needs to be written anew, what needs to be edited, what needs to be dropped. And you sit down and you say, this is the content we have. These are our audiences. This is what we need to do with it. Once you've done all that, you've gone from that massive chaos into something that's ordered. And then it's just an ongoing process of curating your content, keeping it organized, keeping it fresh, retiring content when it needs to be retired, modifying and editing it as appropriate. So it's really controlling your content. And you get to that point when you've looked at what you have, figured out what it all is, and then organized it, categorized it, classified it, sometimes simplified it, sometimes added a layer of complexity. Sometimes data is complex and you need to add in some additional layers. Then you get to a point where you have control over what is there, where you know what you have on your website, you know how you're presenting it, you know who your audiences are, you know how they're using that content, and you can loop back with analytics and surveys and user groups to constantly refine that content and keep it fresh. By doing that, you'll be at peace of mind, your content managers will sleep well at night, and as a university official, you'll know that your website presents the best face forward to your audiences, to your prospective students, to potential faculty, to parents, to any audience who is coming looking for information. You know that your site will be fine-tuned to optimally present all of that content and eliminate confusion among your users. So thank you very much for listening. We look forward to working on the project.